Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the analysis on SPY. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and give your opinions or any information that you think would help the channel as well as our strategies here. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is me merely showing you my thinking process. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the analysis on SPY. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and give your opinions or any information that you think would help the channel as well. So going back to what I was trying to say, I heard myself speaking on my YouTube channel. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Comment things that will uplift the community of all of us who are trying to learn various strategies to enhance our repertoire of trading. And again, remember, this is not financial advice. This is for informational purposes only, entertainment for others, and time wasters for others. Whichever way it works for you, by any means necessary, do what you must, but do not take this as financial advice. We are not responsible for any losses or gains regarding what is discussed in this channel, implied, written, etc. Okay, so as we were saying, if you were to look here at the 15-minute chart, you can see that this looks like a very small drop. And in reality, if you were to pay attention to it, you can see that the in little support was here about 398. We watched a lot of back and forth here in this area, and it finally, in its own way, gathered some support and traded up. And then it just lost momentum after that. And honestly, that is, in my opinion, a form of consolidation. This can consolidate and break up or break down. And again, you're going to have to look at this and either do one or two things when you feel like it, if you want to, not financial advice. But for me, I would sit here and look at this and say, this appears to have some consolidation again. This is in the gray area. This is after hours. So we still pay attention to after hours trading, especially that SPY is traded 24 hours, but we don't have access to it until 9:30 to 4 o'clock. So I see that there's some consolidation. And one can look at this in two ways. It can either consolidate and form a strong support level pretty much between 400 and 400.7 and rally back up to 425 and go go past 402.65 and break on up maybe to 404. Who knows? Or how my little thing is telling me, because it was in a downtrend, it is appearing that it could go back and continue on its trip back down, possibly to 392, possibly to 395, even possibly to 398, or even at the very bottom to 386. Now, most of my targets are hit. I have my target set on Fibonacci-like numbers. And if you don't know what Fibonacci is, I recommend that you research it and really see how it influences trading. But I have numbers set for my targets with Fibonacci. And the thing about me, I play around with my various indicators. No matter who created the indicator, I don't take any credit for any of these indicators that you see displayed on my screen. What I do, however, is I go in and I change things in these indicators to accommodate my form of trading. I like to see long-term overall movement. I don't like the up and down, up and down. The 1 minute chart still gives you insight about what is happening in that particular stock. But these 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 day, 1 month, quarter, years, they give you a huge snapshot of what's really going on. So since I do know what my chart is named, I can go up here in the studies and remove all studies and not save it as that. And what I'm just going to do here is just to give you a glimpse of the importance of looking at this from a, various time periods. As you can see, the high back in April of 2022 was 462. The low here on October the 10th was 348. It has gone up to 409. Couldn't even get back to 431 to even get to 462 and pull back to 375, but it did not go as low as 348, so that was a higher low. So that kind of gave you the idea that we could be in an uptrend. Now, this is how things look differently when you expand it for 3 years instead of 1 year. Now, someone else might say, well, you got all this going on, but you got a gap here, 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 you got a gap here. But we still see that there was a downtrend. It went down, then it goes up here, and it could, honestly get to 410. It could get to 409.88, but you have to watch this area here. But if one were to look at this on the chart, you could say, well, it's attempting either to go back up, or if it fails to get here, it may be on a continuum to go on down. So that's why it's important to zoom in, so to speak, and really see things for what's going on. Like I said here, you had a pullback. You had it go up, but it didn't go up here. And then it went down, but it didn't go as low as there. So you have to watch that. Is it going to trade in the channel between 409 and 374? Who knows? But we do know that it did drop to 387 in the pre-market earlier. So it could have easily gone back to 374 if it dropped to 389 and go to 387 and go on down, because how SPY traded today, it was making some moves very quickly. So essentially, you have to watch these stocks. So now let's just go to 2 years and look at this. Okay, so we're seeing, if one were to put trends here, and let me just go ahead and see what this trend is, because sometimes these auto trends, they are not doing what they're supposed to do. So we're going to still try it and see what it gives us. Okay, so it gave us a little bit better. So this is showing you a trend here. There are actually 2 lines here. And it's saying slightly above the current trend. So we do know it was at 402, about 402.5.7 here. So it was kind of sort of above the trend. But what we don't see is that candle closing above that. So we're going to just try to go to 1 year and see what's going on here. Go to 1 year, and now we're still seeing above current trend. So if you were to expand and look further in, you'll see that it is above one trend line, but not above another. So then we go and let's just do 6 months per week, okay? Above current trend. So, but let's change this from a week to a day. And wow, look at here. We got below current trend, above current trend. So it really, perspective does matter. And it's important to understand who you are as a trader. Are you the long range trader? Are you the trader of the moment? The trader of the moment might see this and say, hey, this is below the current trend. It was going up and it pulled back. And then it's got to get here. And then it's got to get here. And then it's got to get here. And then here and here. But like I said, how one sees the chart makes a difference. Now let's just do 3 months. Let's just do 3 months in 1 day. And we're still technically, according to them, below current trend because the high was 410. And this was on the 13th of December. Now, you really couldn't see that as clearly when you were looking at some of the big charts. But as you work your way down, you get to see that, I might just go on to 410. So you're looking at the moment. You're saying, well, higher time frame, kind of above the current trend. You get lower and lower, it's kind of let you see it's not quite there. It's trying to get there, but it's not quite there. You can see it here. It's trying to get there, but not quite there. Making progress, but not quite there. So now we're at 3 months, 1 day. So let's just do 1 month, 1 day, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so here I don't see any trend lines, but let me see, can I change this up a bit? Intraday. And let's just do 1 hour. And I'm quite sure that will change some things. Or I'm not even going to do that. Let's do 15 days. 1 hour. All right, that's better because I wasn't ready for that far close up. Okay, so they're saying we're above the current trend, but as you can see, there are 4 trend lines here. The more you go down, lower and lower, you just keep seeing different things. You keep seeing different things. And this is showing you that there was a uptrend, a consolidation here, a drop down, a slight uptrend, a run up, some form of consolidation, drop down real quickly, which is in the pre-market today actually, and then ran up. And it went past that 400 and it made that 402. But as I showed you in the previous charts, that the next high was 410. Now, are we saying that SPY is going to go to 410 tomorrow? No, I'm not saying that because I can't see a crystal ball to show you that. But what we're telling you is for those who believe that this here could be a consolidation for a breakup, they're going to basically possibly say, well, the next target would be was to go back to this high and take this high out and maybe go to 404, maybe go to 406 and 408. Now, what can SPY do before it even gets to any of those areas? It can pull back because it tells you what it's going to do. You don't tell it what it's going to do. So that is why it's important for you to just keep looking at different time frames and looking at different ways of looking at one trading day or just one stock, because so much can be seen at different levels. Now, you don't have to have all these trend lines drawn in your chart like this. This is a computer generated trend line. It is based on various computations that's built into the programming. So you may not even draw a trend line like that. So me personally, sometimes I just like to just use 2. And sometimes those trend lines are in 2 random places, as you can see. However, this one is more like what I probably would have drawn. And as you can see, it did go to 402. And one may have thought, well, maybe it's going to run back up, but it didn't. So I got an arrow from not my meaning I created it, but from my indicator on my chart that says this may trade down. We still don't know what SPY is going to do 100%. Honestly, I feel like it can go either way. I feel like it can break on down to 398, or it could go on up to 402. That is pretty much, in my opinion, a good frame of reference. So, but that's just my opinion. You do your own due diligence to determine how you're going to trade SPY. I'm just giving you my insight about what I believe and how I do things. And it may be something that you like that you may try on your own, but that is not by obligation nor by fact. That is by choice. Moving on. So now we're zooming in. We're on the 10-minute, and I'm still below current trend. Okay, this one is showing how it's really clearly showing a consolidation. Really, consolidation that is happening, in my opinion, during the aftermarket. So there was a lot of movement here. So you're not going to see too much movement for the most part with any stock without there being some type of pulling back or a retracement back up, depending on what direction it's going. There's going to be a period of rest and decision making in that stock. So, and what most people tell you is when the stock is skyrocketing like this, it's just zoom. It's not doing the normal process of up. It normally pulls back, and this is how you could have turned $8 into $140 if you were to have gone to the chart. Hopefully they still have it up here. The I think it was $3.99. And what you can do is copy you can copy these options and paste them in your charts, and they can too pop up just like the stock. I hope you all know that. Now look at this, you guys, and I'm about to turn this into a 1 minute, 1 day, 1 minute. Is this important for you to understand what I'm telling you here? Okay. Now, this stock on Monday. Okay. We see that it went up earlier today. We see that there was some movement here and all this and that. Okay. But this is the thing. This thing traded down to about 4 or 5 cents. Okay. And this was at about, let's see where it was. 150. Let's just try. The time it was at 4 cents. Maybe it was 0.045. But let's just say 5 cents, since I can't see where it was at 4. But I do recall seeing something saying it was at 4. No, there it is. It says high 5, low 4. There we go. So at 151 today, January the 23rd, 2023. This SPY put at $3.99 when SPY was probably running about 402.5 was at 4 cents. Okay. 152. At 2:55, which was almost an hour and 2 minutes in. I think I'm reading this right. At 2:55. 2:55, guys. SPY had went from 4 cents to a high of 89 cents. So you really could have made more than I thought. I thought it stopped at 70 something, but it stopped at 88 something. You could have made, my bad, 80 times 2 is 160. Okay? And the 70 was 140, but you could have made easily $160 in an hour off of 8 cents. You could have made $160. And the most important thing you have to understand about SPY is it moves quickly. Now, somebody else will say, well, I bought this at 4 cents. I'm getting out at 35 cents. And if you had 10 contracts and you bought them at 4 cents, and that was 40 cents, okay? And it went to 35, and you would have made $310 off of $40, I wouldn't have been mad at you. But it's also true that you could have spent $40 and bought 10 contracts. And you could have made what now? Let's see, can we do a calculator? Let's see, can we'll find a calculator here. I don't want to be a person who doesn't know how to do math, and sometimes my brain does go wrong. So let's say we paid 4 cents. So that was 40 cents, okay? So 88 minus 4 is 84. So that was that 84 cents that this was worth, which is $84, we all know in trading, times 10. $840. So you could have bought 10 contracts at 4 cents, $40. And you actually could have made, if you would have got out of it at its high, $840. Now that's an empirical formula. If you would have played this that way, in an hour, you literally made somebody's paycheck for 2 weeks. For somebody else, their paycheck for a week, and some other people who are blessed highly in a day. But you only worked an hour in 2 minutes. Now, there are a couple places in the world where you can do that real quick, and we're not going into that. But to sit in front of your computer for an hour and 30 minutes or 2 hours and you make $840 from $40, you got to learn this thing. So this is the mistake that I made. You want to know what I did? I got in a put for $394 when SPY was trading at $400 because I assumed that it was going to basically go down. But it did not. It ran up an extra $2.65 and it destroyed my position and I let it expire worthless. But I could have sold it at $3 to $4 because I paid 8 cents for it. Now, that same entire 8 cents that I just told you about, I could have took that 8 cents, which is $8 in trading terms, and I could have turned that into at least, I would say, anywhere from $100 to $120. I personally do not believe I would have held on to it till it got to 88 because I probably would not have felt like it was going to go that high. And anytime I see a position that I paid 4 cents for go to $60 or $70, me personally, I'm not holding on to it the entire time. Now, some people, they have a very unique way of reading that chart, and they would have. But what I have been taught is you play the middle. You don't always go to the extremities of the high and the low. Take your profit and go. You add up the profits. You maintain your account by cutting losses. And I would have been happy because who can turn $4 into 70 cents? 80 cents. Who can turn $40 into $840? Now imagine these people who had purchased 100 contracts at 4 cents, which is $4. So let's just do the math here because I'm showing you the powers of trading. So if you would have done that, that would have been $4. 4 times 100 is 400. So if you would have bought 100 contracts at 4 cents, that equates to $400. Now, you spent, let's start over here. It went all the way to 88. Technically 89, but we're going to do 88 just for math's sake. Minus your investment of 84. And you bought 100 of those. And you made $84 per contract. And you bought 100. And I could do this in my head, you guys, but I'm just showing you the math. Now, if you had $400 today, and that thing went all the way up to 88 cents, and you took away your investment, I'm not saying you wouldn't get the full 8,800. I'm just looking at profit here because that's what I focus on, not the entire thing. You would have got your 400 investment back plus that, unless you have a platform that does not give you your free commissions and all that. And I don't. Not this platform. You have to pay for options. But can you go anywhere else in the world and turn $400 to $8,400 except for the casino, which I don't recommend. But if you don't do charts and you don't do analysis and journaling and writing down this and that, you can become a gambler with trading. And trading is not gambling, but you can make trading. You have to plan, you got to analyze, you got to go in and look at stuff. You can't just go off of a stroke of luck and genius and stuff like that. It takes time and effort, and you find your trading edge like they tell you to, and you'll do fine. But you could have taken $400 today in a matter of an hour and 2 minutes, and you could have made $8,400 off a spot. Now tell me what $8,400 would have done for your life right now, for your mortgage, for your car, for your insurance, for your health insurance, your life insurance, for whatever you need, a new rug, a new desk, a new TV, a new roof, or whatever. What could that have done for you in your life? You would have gotten that off of trading spot today. This is what some groups do on a regular basis. And I honestly recommend some groups, but I'm just going to have to get permission to say their name on my channel, because if my channel ever got monetized, I don't want to have to pay anybody any money for saying something that they may believe that I was trying to push off for myself, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm trying to help them and trying to help you, to connect you to people that can give you another level of trading information. This is foundational, but it's still sensational. Because at the end of the day, this is showing you the power and the leverage and the impact of options. Now, I credit my brother for showing me about options. I have been actually trading stock and knowing about stock since I was roughly about 17 to 18 years old. I used to watch Kramer and then not watch Kramer. But I always was fascinated by the stock market. I would open up a newspaper and look at the numbers. I wonder what that stuff means. And I know what some of it means today. I am still learning just like you are. But this is not saying this is always going to happen. I'm not saying that. I'm definitely not saying that. But what I'm telling you is this was a plausible and possible play on today. I'm telling you what I do understand what happened today. Somebody, somewhere did this. And somewhere, somebody said, well, you know what? I'm just going to buy 1,000 options times 0.04. And they dropped 4 pounds. And you want to know what they did? Let's try this. What's 88? Oh, let me clear it for you. 84. Let's stick to our number. 84 times 1,000. Are you kidding me? Are you telling me some rich person somewhere, somebody who had that business, telling me that they leveraged $4,000 to make $84,000 in an hour and 2 minutes? Are you telling me they made a teacher's salary up north in an hour and 2 minutes? Somebody somewhere did. And you know what somebody else somewhere else did, y'all? They didn't just do that. They said, no. We gonna do 10 times. And tell me, y'all, tell me what. Okay, and somebody, y'all think this is a joke. But somewhere, somebody got money to do this right here. And this is what they did. They said, that's a quick scat right there. Okay. So you got 10,000 contracts. And we're going to assume all of them sell. This is what this is, y'all. Times 84. You telling me somewhere somebody turned 40 pounds into 840? You telling me somebody took 40K and almost made a meal? Yes, that institution did. Yes, that institution did. Yes, that bank did. Yes, that investor banker did. Yes, that trust fund person did. Use that money to make. Yes, they did. Yes, those people who trade for a living with somebody else's money. Yes, they did. And guess what? If my client, if I knew what I was doing, my client had that, and I could see that. You don't think I would have did that? But like, hey, we got you on here right here. What? Oh, we leveraged a lot, but hey, look what we did for you today. Is that right? Is that gonna balance out when? Yes, sir. Are you saying that you want me to send what over? Oh, yes, sir. We can make that happen for you immediately. We would definitely send it over. And how much do you want me to invest now? Half? And give you the other? Yes, sir. We will definitely get that for you. Let this clear. I know this is going to take at least a couple of days to clear, but once it's bounced out, we will definitely send it on to you, sir. Yes, sir. That's all they did somewhere, y'all. That's all they did. Somebody somewhere. About 10,000 contracts for that SPY. And you want to know how I know they do it? Because when you go on these various platforms that give you inside information about what stocks are being traded and how much, and they are putting up, y'all, this stuff is up in millions. And these are institutions that are trading this. So we know institutions take your money that you have given to them with that I acknowledge, and you sign your name because you didn't read the fine print. Somewhere in the world, they take your money. And you have access to your money. Let's not play that game. But they still take your money with your permission. And they trade that money. And they make money like this, leveraging your money, making money off of you. How about you being your boss? How about you being your institution and you trade? Now, you're seeing this chart, and the more information I give about trading to myself, the less stuff is on my chart. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm going to put some more stuff on my chart, y'all, because there's certain things that I'm used to seeing on my chart. But trading is simply price action. It is nothing else but price action. I was about to get ghetto with y'all, which I will in some cases get ghetto, especially if I'm doing a live trading. I'm getting mad at the stock. You're going to hear some things. I'm not going to curse and stuff like that. But you're going to hear me get ghetto. You're going to hear me get country. You're going to hear me get city. You're going to hear me get foreign. You're going to see all these different personalities, but it doesn't mean that I'm, living with 4 or 5 different personalities. That's just really my personality. But the more you study trading, you're going to see that the less you really need. Most of this stuff will only confirm what you're thinking. Okay? But I'm seriously telling y'all that really was a play. And as you can see, when you look at this particular trade, it literally went right back down. And it's not sitting here looking at you saying, you got time, to make up your mind what you want to do and everything. You can take these same options and put the stuff in here. And if you got indicators on your screen, you can read your options just like you read your stock information. Okay? So that was the 1 minute. This is a 1 minute, but this has all my little stuff on it, so you can't see as much as you can see here. Which proves my point of the cleanliness, if that's such a word, of having a chart. But like I said, this here ran up, pulled back, then went to 89. So I was probably, still. I think I was looking at it when it was 77, 78, which is why I had that. You could have turned 8 to 140, but I honestly had no idea it actually went that high. So it stayed here for a little while, but it didn't stay there for a very long time. So by the time 254 had come, the high was 89, but by 255, the high was 74. By 256, the high was 65. Then it went back, and then it didn't go back up. So you know, if it ties where it came from in the past, and it doesn't break up, it's going to break on down. And as you can see, literally in minutes, it just slowly deteriorated. But you couldn't get mad at yourself for taking it here. Why wait for all of this for, like I said, $6? Now, people who are doing that high, 500 and 600, contracts. Now that 6 times 5 is 3,000. So that would have made a difference. But as far as you know, basically you had 10 contracts, which is still $60 for them $6. But you starting to get up in the hundreds and thousands, 10,000, 20,000. Now that $6 make a difference. But I'm just saying, risking it for this entire move here, I personally don't see the rationale in that. Once it started playing with me here, I would have gotten out. But like I said, for some people it was worth that, so they stayed. But that quick drop, that's what I'm saying. 83.74. What is that, y'all? 3 and 4. It's 9. Okay, telling y'all. So I'd rather have lost 6 than 9. You understand what I'm saying? So that's kind of how you have to look at what was your risk reward ratio. If you got in at 4 and got to 83, what you crying about 88 for? When you can lose almost $10. And if you had, and let's look at it now, if you had 10,000 contracts and you lost $10 being greedy, that would have hurt you a lot. Think about that now. So it doesn't pay to be greedy when you are trading. You don't need to do that. But like I said, that's my opinion. This is not financial advice. This is just my opinion about this industry here. So let's go ahead and get out of this. I'm going back to SPY. I just want you to see the importance of looking at your chart. But one of the things I want to do for my previous video was to show you what it looked like when SPY fell today on this chart. Okay. Still act right. Okay. Right somewhere else. Hold on. Okay, let me reset. All right. Already is in that pre-market, the aftermarket stuff. All right, so trying to get it to zoom in here. All right, fine. Okay, for my particular chart here, clearly all my things were saying, hey, this is done. I had a little thing that said short, thing said high. I want to say my little thing back there was saying this is a higher high, whatever. I have a reversal candle called, I guess, a Seiku. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. To let me know this is a reversal candle, letting you know this ain't gonna be a good look. But here we can see that this. Let's see what this is. Okay, just tell me what. We can see here that things were going wrong. Okay, we can see here things were going wrong. You had a higher high, and when the next candle went, it hardly engulfed this. It just went toe to toe with it, just about. It wasn't real big and taking over to show that it had momentum. It went up a little bit, and then here's a red candle. Then it was like, boom, this ain't gonna work. So it shorted, and my signal said this is going to short, and that is exactly what it did. It traded down, went down all the way to the bottom, and it found support at 398. Even though, as you can see, it never got exactly back to 398.3, where it just continued to break free from. It got out of this little zone for a little while, and then it went right back up, stayed in that zone, and went back up. Still never did get back here. So here we're seeing it's holding a level here at 400.96, and then here it is, kind of tinkering down back to about 400. So what we're trying to see here is SPY going to sit here and play in this area? Is it going to go back to, you know, the 400.98, 499, and hold that and keep going back to retest that high? Because it seems like it wants to. But one thing that you have to be careful when you're looking at a chart is a lot of people may exclude certain calculations in their, you know, pre-market, their 9:30 to 10 o'clock calculations. But I personally believe that pre-market data is very important because it's telling you how that stock was behaving when it got to certain levels, and how your mind should look at that level to see, is the price going to react that way again. Now we're at 498 and this is 400.99, so it's almost getting there, and it could go to 402 again. It could. But if not, if it can't get past this, or it can't even get past here, 401.67, it's a possibility that it may go back and revisit. Well, let's just go here. May revisit 399. May revisit 399 again, 0.05. May revisit 398.86 and 398.75. Could go back to 398.92, and so on and so forth. It could do a full pullback to its open from today. But it also can blow out that 402.65 and go to 403 and go to 404 and go to 405. And what did we say one of those previous highs were? 410. You could go to that 410. But you have to watch it because even here, this is still a little bit of range trading. And what do we mean by range trading? Range trading is when you see blocks of trading. Okay, now there was something that was supposed to be done, but I don't think it happened. I'll have to. All right, we're gonna try this again. See, I told you. How about we just draw a circle and see how that goes? Okay. See right here, that's what we would call consolidation. Okay, and as you can see, it consolidated, right? Then it broke down, but it very well could have broken up, you know. But you have to look at this stuff here, like here. Oh, guys, it's one thing you got to learn the gadgets. You got to learn them. Anyway, let me just get out this drawing stuff. We at least got the circle right, so let me just go back to my little cursor and zoom in. Okay, this could have broken up, or it could have broken down, and it decided to break down, and then you clearly, let's try it again, you guys. Just for keeps, let's try to square this time. Yay! We saw some consolidation here, and guess what it decided to do? Break up. So that's what I'm saying. You have to pay attention to stuff like this because it does matter. Um, but we're not gonna go too far into that any further. We're gonna wrap up this session because I know it's late. But what I want you to do is just watch price action. And one feature on TD Ameritrade that a lot of people do not take advantage of is this, and it will be a very sad day, if they were to take it away. People not deciding to use it. But this is the on-demand feature that allows for you to go back in time and trade various commodities at certain times using fake money. It's virtual, it's not real. As you see, it says virtual account. It's not real. I'm not showing the fake money because I don't want somebody to think, oh my gosh, she really trades that. No, I do not trade that much. I literally work with $40 and $50, guys. That's what I work with. And guess what? If you would have had $40 today and you could have bought 10 contracts, tell me again how much money you could turn that $40 into. I'm doing. So anyway, this is going back from, now we know it's the 23rd. I decided to go to January 3rd. If I reset this and say reset time, okay, it's going to take me to January 20th, which is this most current time that it has data, which is this past Friday. And I have a lot going on my TD Ameritrade account, so it takes a while for some of my charts to show up. So don't mind that chart over there. But let's just say we just refresh this and we're just looking at SPY. Okay. Now this is probably going to repopulate itself in a little while, but in the meantime, let's use what we have here. Okay. Oh, it happened. Give it a second, it'll get back. Okay. Got the auto zoom. Start me from the beginning of January the 3rd, and this is how you can use this feature. Now, I'm going to probably try to do, let's try 5 minutes on this one, because it doesn't make sense to have two 1 minute charts. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. And as you can see, this is replaying what happened on Friday. Now, as you can see in the pre-market, I was doing a lot of running. It was up there to 390, looked like 390.2, went down to about 388, made its way back up, pulled back down again, and ran up. And now, it seems like it want to go back and retest that 389.11, but let's see where it goes. You know, this is live stuff from January the 20th, which is past Friday. Now, you can look at my little chart setup that I have here. It's giving me a down arrow because it is below the trend. I also have a bear signal here that says to trade down. And as you can see, I have below the current trend. I have a bear at 5 minutes. It just went bull. And I got a bullish PSAR. But one thing you're going to find out about sometimes on the on demand, it may be behind just a bit. Because look, my thing is saying 389.26 and this is saying 389.38. So, but maybe not, y'all. Maybe not. Can it catch up or? No. Yeah, see, it's a little behind. But nonetheless, the concept here is understand what this chart is showing you. Right now, it is saying 389, and it's just catching up here. So that's why I say it's a little behind, and it's not. So it's the data. I have a lot on my TD Ameritrade account, but whatever. So here you can see that I'm still on bearish. All my things up here are saying pretty much bear. And I'm trading on down. I'm trading on down. Still trading on down. I'm still on a, I still got a bear signal. I have nothing showing me 100% that this is a bull. Nothing over here saying bull. So let me go to the 15-minute chart and see what it's showing me here. 5-minute charts are still very quick scalping times. 15-minute gives you a little bit more information. Okay, we see a little bit of movement here. Still in a downtrend, but it still fluctuates between 388 and 389 here. Okay, so 15-minute chart is not going to show as much, of course, because each candle is 15 minutes. Okay, still on downtrend here. Still on downtrend, but Are we going to make a higher low, or is it going to go up? It's breaking down some more. Oh, still breaking down. Still breaking down. Still breaking down. And as you can see, I have targets. I can have this target, this target, this target, this target, this target. But 389.11 was a good target because of the past where it came from. But let's look at this pre-market. 388.36. Is that a possible target? Let's see. Let's see how this aligns itself. In this instance, this very well could go to this pre-market low. It's trying, but it's also fighting this area. So let's see what it's going to do. Because I told you sometimes my candles are behind with the charts, with the actual price. But still, this is showing you that it still went to 388.46. $47. Now look, 388, 38.71. Now it's kind of like sometimes it's ahead, sometimes it's behind. But like I said, this is what happens with replays. Okay, right now we're seeing some evidence that it was trying to create a higher low, but it did not finish the task. It went right back down. So what you'll see sometimes is a struggle in price. Is it going to hold those levels? And that's what they mean. Is it going to hold? Is it going to hold this level? No, it broke through it. Is it going to hold this level? We don't know. 388.46. It looked like to me it didn't because it's on its way back up according to this. But like I said, this is a little behind. But wow, this here that just popped up, this Haikui, this was trying to tell me this is a possible reversal. So if this did get this low according to the history of the trading, then this was warning me, hey, this thing about to go back up. And so now my chart is showing what that was showing. And this could be temporary or it could be the real thing. We don't know. Because guess what we still have over here? We're still below the current trend according to my 15 minutes. So let's see. Can this break above here? Can this break here? Can it break here? Break here, break here, and just run? Or is it going to fail and drop down? Now, don't think this is going to happen. Don't think this is going to happen in 1 minute or 2 seconds or whatever. This process could easily take the back and forth plus the minus. This could literally take all day. It could. Now, this did reverse, but look what it did. It couldn't hold that level so far. It's actually breaking down. Did it mean that my little thing lied? No. It did reverse up. It just didn't hold where it reversed to. But me personally, what would I do? If I didn't like that setting on that particular indicator, I would go in and change it to give me more information to make that reversal more solid. So I'll have to go in my settings based on what I know to change that. Okay, so here we are. We broke below because we could not hold that level. And it actually did go to 388.38, which is what, y'all? Where did we say we saw something similar to that? Okay, that previous low in the pre-market. Now, here we see that this thing did indeed go up, but not before it still made a lower leg down. Now, what happens here sometimes is what they call a bear trap. They'll say, well, this was a low. They'll look at this as the stop loss area because that's where it came from when it went up, and knock these people out, and they be like, oh no, I'm on the wrong side of the trade. And then here you go. Okay. So, but you still, like I said, you have to wait sometimes, but it depends on really what you got at risk. Somebody risking $20 or $30 might be like, I'll wait. Somebody risking a little bit more money, they probably wouldn't. They would have just cut the trade. But if you learn to understand false breakouts, which is something that you can just watch multiple videos on YouTube, and I actually have, sometimes it's not accurate. Remember, indicators are responding to what the market has done, so they're always lagging. I always remember that. And I did not make this code, so you know. Okay, but that particular code tells me, see how it said false breakdown? That's the type of stuff that you kind of need to just keep you grounded. But it's not going to tell you everything. But as you can see, there was a reversal, but not before it went back down. Okay. And a lot of people would have got kicked out of the trade here and missed this. Now here, I'm still on a short. That's important to know. So we see that this right now is still, somewhat bullish. I'm still on the bearish PSAR. My thing up here saying I'm still bearish within the 5-minute time frame, and it's still telling me I'm below the current trend. So I have to pay attention to this information as well as how is this price in comparison to all the hurdles that it needs to go through. Is it making real progress to clearly, put my trust in it that it is, on a trend? And sometimes and remember, this stuff is still based on what is going on in the calculation, so it could be behind. That's why it'll be more important for me to just talk about this stuff during live trading where there's no lag to the extent that this may have. But as you can see, this is pushing through. Pushing through. This is still saying, red, but it is pushing through. Now, can this push above this? Or is it pulling back? This got here, but it still didn't get here. Still didn't get here. Still didn't get here. Still didn't get here. And it definitely didn't get here. So it's trying, but what we got here? Then what you got here? What's that slant going on there? So this has to break through here for it to even think about getting here. Okay? What does it do? Pulling back a bit. Okay? So we still got to get here. Still got to get here. We're still here. We still got a red candle going on. But it's clearly 389.42. It's not 388.4. But we still have a red candle. Oh, we broke out of here. Uh-oh, we're in this zone right here. We're in this, what I call, for this one, this is called a moving average field. So here we are pushing. And I mean, we just started running, y'all. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Is it going to get to here? Can it get to here? Oh. I mean, that was a push, guys. But is it really a bull yet? I mean, it's a bull market right here. We got to see what's going on here. But like I said, this told you bull. Off breakdown. So you've gone from 388.73, 389.66. That's still movement. Grade 9.77. It's got to go. It's got to get here. Okay. Come on, we got to push, push, push. I mean, it's a huge green candle. That's what you want to see. You want to see that. You want to see that push. You want to see that push. It's just pushing up, pushing it. But you don't want to see a green candle then a red candle. You don't want to see a green candle then a red candle. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see that when you're dealing with trading an uptrend. You don't want to see that. You want to see you want to see this. You want to just keep seeing, you know, big candles. This does not need to turn red because that may signify that that trend is slowing down or doing a minor pullback, maybe trying to get more steam. So that was me zooming it in. So this is gonna give you another perspective of what this really looks like. Okay, so as you can see, we have that candle. So what is it doing? We still are below the current trend. We're still bearish over here. Okay, and for me, for my ATR, when I'm in a bearish trend, it's red. So it's still telling me it's red. When I'm in a bullish trend, it'll turn green. So was it wrong for someone to play this? No. But if you're a person who's trading long haul, wow. Do y'all see that? Do you guys see that? Stuff like that happens all the time. That is the smart money coming in, pushing that out of here. Wow. What in the world? That was crazy, guys. And stuff like that happens in trading all the time. Matter of fact, that happened today in the pre-market when they dropped it all the way down to 389 and then it ran all the way up to 402 today. Wow. That was an immediate turn to the bullish. Just flipped to bullish. Still below current trend. I just don't think it calculated it fast enough to be, well, I guess that maybe. But no. Look at that. Finally green, you guys. But look what happened. See how crazy that was, you guys? Sitting here chilling, yeah, boom! And just that quickly, look where's that? And I didn't do this, guys. That's what it did when it traded on Friday. Now in the beginning, it didn't even show any evidence that it was just gonna do that. And we don't know if some news happened that made this happen. We don't know if there was some type of exchange happened. We don't know if there were a bunch of orders sitting here. Somebody just said, boom. But despite that, it pulled back. These are regular occurrences in the stock market in itself. And you will see moments like this happen in trading just all of a sudden. Where it'll be like, what in the world did this thing just do? And then here we are. Now I'm still on the bullish. But Not really, because this really just made it bullish calculation wise. But in reality, the actual trend was still a little consolidation here. So some people don't really count this because it's such an outlier. Like, look at that wick. You know, some people may not deem that to be a legitimate move. But I will look at it as business is business. I have to understand, maybe something happened in the news, so you might go look up some stock market news to see that something happened in a certain market or something, or some news from the feds or anything that could have affected that for SPY. But nonetheless, look what it did. Still pulling back. Okay. The only reason why I think this turned into a bull was because of this spike. But the reality was the momentum was shifting. But you will see things like this pop up out the blue. You will see stuff. And that happens more often than you think. Now, what you can do if you don't want to sit here all day, one of the other great features about TD Ameritrade is it gives you fast flow. So now we look and see how did this pan out? What happened with this trade? So that is, and if you hear some noise in the background, that's my family. So talking about various things. I'm about to get me a sip of water, or more so soda, which I don't need. But we're trying to see what happens with this trade. And you're at the movie theater, you hear that? What is it going to do? What does SPY end up doing? Wow. It looked like, I'm sorry, it looks like it wanted to push up. Just so y'all know, I am on a replay again on the on-demand feature of TD Ameritrade, looking at this last Friday. So if you saw how SPY traded today, this can honestly give you a look at what actually happened. Now, you can actually run this up to about 12:56. It's gonna blank out right quick and come back in to show that time. So it's gonna blank out again. So just give it a little while. It's my fault. I have so much going on my um my account. And as you can see, it was at 389 and it ran to 392 and started pulling back. So it actually knocked out that long wick it did, and it ran. It ran and it ran and it ran. And as you can see here, it stayed above this moving average, it stayed above, pulled back, went up, pulled back, pull back, and now what's happening is slight bear move. But it did go up and it's trading above that green line. Now, as you can see, now this is saying above current trend. Now, someone may have said, I'm going to wait until it breaks this and closes. I'm getting in. Somebody might have done that. So let's see what it does at the end of the day. And I am using military time because that's how this is set up. So, and like I said, sometimes I will trade on this virtual account and sit here and wait for this to develop out. But if I'm really just in the learning phase, just trying to see what actually happened with the stock. Wow, it went to 395, you guys. 0.55, maybe even a little higher. 395.79. Wow. So look at here. Broke that trend line, pulled back to that trend line, didn't break below it, went on through. It stayed in bull. Even though it pulled back into the area, it still remained bullish and it ran. So remember, we were sitting here playing around at 389, then it said boom. Broke through that and went all the way 395, to 395.79. Now, 389 to 395. Hey, for a SPY, let's just look at what a 389, what was the history of that? We were trading about what time when it went to that 391 really quickly. So that was like 10:30. So now let's look at this. 10:30. What was this option worth? Probably look at one without all the on it. This is gonna hurt some people too. But this is how people. This is how people make their living, guys, and they do well. They really do. Now about 10:30. Now this at the opening was worth $1.89. And still a little steep. Let's just say it was worth $2. $2 all the way to $6.85. Now, this is where you begin to see the importance of your patience. Okay? This is where it hurts when we are not paying attention to the chart. You literally could have went from 2 to 4 and made $6.84 total. But you could have made $400 off the 2. Now, our previous little example for today's trade, to me, is more fun. That's a better risk. But for those, now, this was Friday, and do know that this happened at 1541. Well, let's not say that. This happened at 1518, which is basically 318. Okay, this high was at 318 and didn't pull back. So we were looking at something at 10:30. So 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. So at least 4 hours and 40 minutes, or just say 5 hours. Now, is there anywhere in the world besides certain other professions that you can take and make $400 in 5 hours. And this was contingent upon you just saying, "Well, I'm gonna hold this till it stops running." You could have set an alert and said, "I think this is gonna make me possibly a few bucks." And some people may even go back in time on their options. You guys, you can go back in time for some of these options because you must look at the fact that options can be bought in the future. In other words, today is January 23rd. I can buy an option, for February the 15th or whatever, for the same option. Okay, let me just show you. It's taking a long time. Let me just go back to the chart. Anyway, you still can see this stuff in the past. Okay, is basically what I'm saying. Now look at here. Do you understand what I'm saying? It literally went back and closed the gap for this option. Now this was Wednesday. So this was on Wednesday where it was at 674 and went all the way 185, and it literally closed that gap and went over it a little bit. So you could look at that and say, well, hey, that could go there to close that. And you could have did it for this and said, I'll get out at 356 because that closed. Or you could have said, I'm going to get out here at 338. You could have said, I'm going to get out here about 246. And you could set these things up to automatically sell. Or you could have said, we're going to wait for this, 431. I'm going to sell it at 480. And look, it doesn't always happen that way, you guys. But if that's the risk you want to take, that's why there is so much importance of getting in these positions. They are very low because you can hold them longer to see what happens with less risk. Now, if you would have paid 447, somebody might have would have got it at 555 because they're risking $400 to make $155, which is not that good of a ratio. But if you're saying 2 to make 4 or 5, that's not bad. But to me, when you're getting upside down, you're risking 500 to make 100. If you scapping that thing for 10 seconds, somebody might do that if they want to just catch something real quick and get out of it. They get in the money, play it for a few seconds and get out. That means they know something that somebody else may not know, or that they just got some good insight, or they're taking a risk. You don't know. You never risk your bills. You never risk your daycare money. You never risk your mortgage. You never risk your car payment because you need these things to survive. You need it. You always risk the money you can lose. You don't risk anything else. People still do what they want to do. Of course they do. But again, it's not financial advice. This is my opinion. But one must be careful when you're trading that this is a risky game. Just as quickly as it went from 185 to 693, it still could go right back to $1.92. You see what I'm saying? It could go all the way back to 395. It can go all the way back to 440. It can go all the way back to 502. So all those things can be the case. But as you can see, this literally did run. It ran all day. And it ran up, pulled back, ran up, pulled back. It didn't go here. It didn't trade back in this area. It didn't break down. It stayed above this moving average. It got in it. It broke down a little bit here, but it didn't close below it. The candle didn't close below that, out of that area. It still was still trading in this zone and in the green, and it went. It did. And here we have what? Consolidation, but it's still, as we know on today, it ran to 402.65. Now we know there were some things that happened in the pre-market, like I told you. Just remember, like I told you, it spiked up to 391 and it's back down to 389. And then just as soon as that market opened, what did it do? Go back to this area. If you think about it, it went back and closed that gap for this area that we're seeing here on Friday and went past and kept going. And it went to a 400 level, and there's a 410 level that it might go to, or it may go right back down to this area where it was trading on Friday to 395, and then even lower to possibly 389, 387, who knows. But one thing, it's not showing up. Okay, here we go. Here we go. As you can see here, you can buy in the future. You know what I'm saying? You can buy in the future, but you're going to pay more money. You don't know what the news is going to do. You don't know what's going to happen. What a lot of people try to do, they try to go back in time. When does SPY usually spike up really well? When does SPY not do well? And so they trade accordingly. But they can be wrong. And the most important thing you can ever do when you are trading stocks, options, or anything related to investments is to respect cutting losses. Okay? You must respect cutting losses. And see, this is that move I was telling y'all about. This is when it made that drastic move that we saw. It dropped like crazy. Remember, it spiked up and it dropped all the way down to 388. And you know what that did? What did that do? It closed, almost closed that gap. Now, our gaps always close in one trading. This is probably a computation from a computer saying, oh, we need to close the gap. Boom. Prices are cheaper. And this happened after the market closed because it's, 405. And that's the thing you have to respect. Now, this movement in a regular trading time, look, if it did this and it's about to make a right angle here, that literally happened from 9:38 to basically 3:54 p.m. But after hours, when we're not trading and retail people are not trading, and institutions can trade, you see a lot of orders. Boom. Okay? And what happened on today? Let's get out of this on demand. And look what happened today. Oh, we got to wait till it clears out. But this is what this was, you guys. On Friday. See, 120, 23. We're gonna wait until this refreshes itself. Okay. Now, whenever it decides to refresh itself, oh, there we are. It has a slight delay. Play it in my mind. It literally dropped. Okay. Look at that. It did that twice. I didn't even know that until I went back and watched this with you guys. It did that twice. But it didn't quite do what? Go all the way down to 387.99. It went to 389. And that kind of gave you that inclination that, hey, this could possibly go up. And that doesn't mean that this could have just stopped here. It could have got here and traded on back down past this. It went up, stayed there. And sometimes when something is just staying there, it can tell you two things to say. It doesn't have a way to break up, and it's Doesn't have a way to break down. But eventually, someone's going to win. And when you choose the right fighter in the ring, good. But you got to use analysis and fundamentals of trading to increase your probability of understanding the probability of what could happen. Okay, so here it chose to break out, and it broke out and ran, pulled back, ran a little bit more, and pulled back. So, is this going to repeat the pattern? Who knows? Could it nosedive again back to this 395? Or could we see 4-3 close this off, 405, 407, 409, and 14? That's what I'm thinking. But again, the most important thing that you need to look at sometimes is what is the overall trend? Because this is merely 1 minute. What is the overall trend of this stock? Based on my chart, it says it's below the current trend because of this trend line. It doesn't tell me anything when I remove it. And you've gotten, all right, you've got to get to a place where you have to learn to read these charts. These are complicated. You know, I haven't mastered this stuff at all, but I have learned a reasonable amount for the foundation to help others. Because trading in real time and teaching someone about what happens in the stock market is two different things. I can tell you, oh, you could have done this with this, but most average people are not going to risk but so much. Especially in something that they don't know that much about. So we don't recommend you trade more than 10% of your portfolio. So of course, if you have $500, $50. If you got $100, $10. If you got $50, $5. And don't think you can't make the trade off of $5 because I just showed you that you could take 4 cents and you could have made $84. How you doing? So don't even play yourself there. And Fridays is kind of sort of the best time to play that game, even though that game could have been played on today. But we saw a breakout here. And this is actually where this stock appears to be finding some form of support, but could break down. Could break down, go back. Could break down and go back. Could break down and go back. And it could break down and go back. Or, as we know, sitting in the corner, wait, 2,800, which ain't real, y'all. You know what it is. And look how far I have to go back to see this now. I still don't see it. I'm trying to remember where I was on. That much, but we'll see. Trying to find that 410 price I was at. Way back here. This, oh, that's a 414. I'm trying to do the 410. Look at there. 4.5. That's a 414. That's a high. That was on 12.14, so I think it was 12.13. It was a high. I thought it was a high. 14 somewhere. Oh, that might have been somewhere here. Yeah. That happened in the pre-market. Oh, let me try 5 minutes so I might see. Oh, it's going to be a lot on this chart. Oh. But it's a necessary thing that you have to do. Going, going, going. So 410. It was actually a high 414. I didn't even see that, you guys. So 410. Here we are counting at 405, at 403, and at 400. Way back here in December. So these are all the various places it can go. So here we are way over here trying to figure out is it going to have enough momentum to go back up and reach those prices, or is it showing us that it's not? If there was a 405 that we saw just now, there was a 410 and a 414, and it's pulling back at 402, we have to make sure that this isn't telling us that it's having a problem. Okay? And then we have to make sure that this is just not basically saying, hey, I'm just creating some support here. I'm about to run on up. We don't know quite yet because this still is a higher low. Okay? This still is a higher low than this 398. So that's how you have to look at this. You have to pay attention. There are other indicators that I'm not getting into because I'm not quite savvy with them enough to explain to you in just a chart by itself. The only thing I'm going to be able to do just tell you when this happens based on what we both see on the chart. But there are some people who got the empirical knowledge down. They got all this, that down, and more power to them. But for me, I keep it as simple as possible. You're like, no, you don't. You got to jump on your chart. But I've been. Let me show y'all something. Y'all want to see my studies? See all that? That comes from me researching, changing things around, changing stuff around. So I have not been, this random person that just decided to come on TD Ameritrade and create me a monetization account for YouTube. I've put my work in, but despite all that work, there's still a lot of work to do. But I know there are people out there who know more about certain elements of the things that I'm explaining, and they may chime in on these lives respectfully and give more information because they may say, well, I can tell you what this might do tomorrow. If you were to look at this and you were to look at that, and they can help us out. So, trading is something that is continuum of learning. You pretty much will never stop learning when it comes to trading. The stock market changed up in the past 10 years and 12 years, especially the stocks and options. When I first started out trading options, there were no weekly expirations that I was aware of. We held them for 3 weeks and sold on Thursday because they was going to expire on Friday. And that's how we traded. And then they started having weeklies and dailies and all this stuff. And some of them, some platforms are doing a lot of other ways with options. But I used to trade with Option Monster. I don't know if too many people are aware of that. Or Trade Monster, something like that. It was one of my first platforms that I have grown to love. And TD Ameritrade is a platform that I have grown to love because the thing about TD Ameritrade, they allow for you to go in and share information with people. You can go here, hit open share item, paste the URL from our indicator here, and load it into your platform, and then put that indicator on your platform and trade, and change up the various properties of it to accommodate what you're looking for. So, I did have a little bit of background with coding, but I'm not a coder to the extent that other people can go up here and create a code to help them trade. But I can, you know, I can seek the logic of what they're doing, and then I go in and I duplicate their trade by changing the variable, or I go in and change the ATR in the code, or I go in and change the time in the code, length, and all these different things. And I go in and I switch numbers around to see what the outcome is. And then once I do that, I always write down, for the most part, the things that I keep changing. And that's the one thing that I will say is, just like you baking a cake and you want to make a cake really nice. You say, well, in this formula, when I change the flour to this to that, or I changed from that brand to that brand, I noticed that it had a different texture. But if you didn't write down your entire ingredient list, you're not going to really know what really changed your actual recipe. And that's what trading, you have to do that, you guys. Well, I have a phone call coming in. This has been a more fun activity. So